The Cannes Film Festival had always been a kaleidoscope of flashing cameras and beautiful facades, but for Marcus Reynolds, tonight the lights seemed particularly blinding. Mid-interview, his practiced charm evaporated as he glimpsed a figure. In midnight blue, gliding down the red carpet with effortless grace. "Marcus, your thoughts on the nomination?" the interviewer prompted, but Marcus couldn't respond. 5 years had transformed Olivia Chen from the woman he'd discarded into someone unrecognizable, poised, radiant, and according to the whispers rippling through the crowd, the founder of Eclipse Studios, whose indie film had become the festival's unexpected sensation. The cameras pivoted from him toward her, like flowers following the sun. Marcus watched as Olivia smiled for photographers, her hand resting protectively on the shoulder of a small girl partially hidden from view. "Olivia, over here," photographers called. "Is this your daughter's first Cannes?" The girl turned, revealing a face that made Marcus's heart stop. Those unmistakable hazel eyes with flecks of gold, identical to his own. The child he'd never known existed. The daughter he'd unknowingly abandoned. As though sensing his stare, Olivia's eyes met his across the carpet. No hatred flashed there, only something more devastating. Complete indifference. Then she turned away, continuing her triumphant procession with their daughter. Marcus's hands trembled as memories flooded back. His reckless affair with starlet Vanessa Moore, Olivia tearfully confronting him with a pregnancy test, his cruel dismissal as he chose ambition over family. "Your claiming it's mine won't save this marriage," he'd spat, while Vanessa watched with calculating eyes. Now, 5 years later, his career was faltering while Olivia had risen from the ashes of their marriage to create something extraordinary. As cameras flashed around her, Marcus realized with sickening clarity, sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destruction. It's spectacular success, witnessed by the one who thought you'd never survive without them. The Cannes Film Festival had always been a kaleidoscope of flashing cameras and beautiful facades, but for Marcus Reynolds, tonight the light seemed particularly blinding. Mid-interview, his practiced charm evaporated as he glimpsed a figure in midnight blue gliding down the red carpet with effortless grace. "Marcus, your thoughts on the nomination?" the interviewer prompted, microphone hovering impatiently. But Marcus couldn't respond. 5 years had transformed Olivia Chen from the woman he'd discarded into someone unrecognizable, poised, radiant, and according to the whispers rippling through the crowd, the founder of Eclipse Studios, whose indie film had become the festival's unexpected sensation. The cameras pivoted from him toward her, like flowers following the sun. His publicist nudged him sharply, but Marcus remained transfixed. Olivia smiled for photographers, her hand resting protectively on the shoulder of a small girl, partially hidden from view. "Olivia, over here," photographers called. "Is this your daughter's first Cannes?" The girl turned, revealing a face that made Marcus's heart stop, those unmistakable hazel eyes with flecks of gold, identical to his own. The child he'd never known existed. The daughter he'd unknowingly abandoned. As though sensing his stare, Olivia's eyes met his across the carpet. No hatred flashed there, only something more devastating. Complete indifference. Then she turned away, continuing her triumphant procession with their daughter. "Mr. Reynolds, are you all right?" The interviewer's voice penetrated his shock. "Yes, excuse me, just surprised to see an old colleague," he managed, his voice unnaturally tight. "About the nomination. It's an honor, of course." He stumbled through the remainder of the interview, his thoughts scattered like broken glass. His publicist, Diane, gripped his elbow as they moved along the carpet. "What happened back there? You looked like you'd seen a ghost," she whispered. "Something like that," Marcus muttered. "The woman in blue, that's Olivia Chen." Diane's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose. "Your ex-wife, the one who—" "Yes," he cut her off. And apparently she has a daughter. So, you've been divorced for years. Marcus swallowed hard. A daughter who looks exactly like me. Comprehension dawned on Diane's face. Oh my God. The rest of the procession passed in a blur. Marcus posed mechanically for photographs, shook hands with industry executives, and exchanged empty pleasantries with fellow directors. But his eyes continuously scanned the crowd, searching for that midnight blue gown, for the little girl with his eyes. Inside the Grand Theatre, he spotted them 5 rows ahead. Olivia, elegant and composed, the child, leaning against her arm, whispering something that made Olivia smile. That smile, once the light of his life, now directed at everyone but him. As the screening began and the theatre darkened, memories flooded back with merciless clarity. 5 years earlier, Marcus had been an up-and-coming director with his breakthrough, indie film gaining international attention. Olivia, his wife of 3 years and creative partner, had written the screenplay that launched his career. Their Brooklyn apartment had been small but filled with dreams. Storyboards on walls, scripts on coffee tables, and plans for a family once they were established. Then came Midnight Tides, the film that should have cemented his place in cinema, and with it Vanessa Moore, Hollywood royalty, the lead actress whose family connections promised Marcus everything he'd ever wanted. Her uncle, studio executive, Richard Moore, had hinted at a 3-picture deal if Midnight Tides performed well. The affair began during night shoots, Vanessa's admiration feeding his ego, her promises of introducing him to the right people intoxicating. He'd convinced himself it was just physical, just networking, just temporary, until the night Olivia surprised him on set, arriving with dinner after he'd claimed he'd be working alone. Finding him in Vanessa's trailer had led to the confrontation that ended everything. "It's not what you think," he'd stammered, "the oldest lie in existence." "It's exactly what I think," Olivia had responded, her voice breaking. "How long, Marcus?" "Olivia, be reasonable. This could be important for my career, for our careers." "Our careers?" Her incredulous laugh had pierced him. "This was never about our careers." Vanessa, rather than hiding, had emerged from the trailer's bathroom half-dressed and triumphant. "Marcus and I have a connection, creatively and otherwise. I think it's best if you accept that things have evolved." What followed was a nightmare of cruelty, his ambition and Vanessa's manipulation, forming a perfect storm. He'd said unforgivable things, things he couldn't take back, that Olivia was holding him back, that she didn't understand the industry, that her writing was adequate but not exceptional. Within a week, divorce papers were filed. Within a month, Olivia had vanished from their social circle, her calls to mutual friends unreturned as everyone aligned with the rising star and his famous new girlfriend. Marcus had even changed the locks on their apartment, leaving her clothes in boxes with the building doorman. The last time he'd seen her was at the attorney's office, finalizing their divorce. Olivia had looked pale, subdued, agreeing to terms that gave her almost nothing from their marriage. He'd been too absorbed in his coming premiere, with Vanessa on his arm, to notice anything unusual about her appearance. Her quietness, or her hand that occasionally drifted to her abdomen. The theatre lights came up for intermission, jolting Marcus back to the present. He watched as Olivia and the child made their way to the lobby. Without thinking, he followed, ignoring Diane's warning look. In the opulent lobby, surrounded by cinema's elite, Marcus approached them, with his heart hammering against his ribs. Olivia saw him coming, her expression cooling instantly as she positioned herself slightly in front of the girl. "Olivia," he said, his voice barely audible over the crowd. "Marcus." No warmth, no hatred, just acknowledgement. It's been a long time, 5 years, 2 months. Precision had always been her strength. The little girl peered around her mother, curiosity overcoming shyness. "Is this someone you know, Mommy?" Those eyes, his mother's chin, his sister's dimples. "Yes, Maya, this is Mr. Reynolds. He's a director, like Auntie Eleanor." Olivia's tone was carefully neutral. "Mr. Reynolds, this is my daughter, Maya." "Not our daughter, just my daughter." "Hello, Maya," Marcus managed. "Hello," the child replied politely. "Are you here for Mommy's movie? It's really good." Yes, I heard it was excellent." He looked at Olivia. "Congratulations on Eclipse Studios." "That's impressive, thank you." Her polite smile never reached her eyes. "If you'll excuse us, I promised Maya some ice cream before the second half." As they turned away, Marcus blurted, "She's mine, isn't she?" Olivia froze, then bent to Maya's level. "Sweetheart, go with Auntie Elena for that ice cream. I'll join you in a minute." An elegant woman nearby, presumably Elena, took Maya's hand with a sharp glare at Marcus before leading the child away. When Olivia turned back to him, her composure remained intact, but her eyes blazed with 5 years of contained fury. "She's mine, Marcus. You made that abundantly clear when you said, and I quote, 'I don't want anything to do with her or any kid she claims is mine.' Those were your exact words when I tried to tell you I was pregnant." "Those weren't my words," Marcus protested, though uncertainty flickered across his face. "I never received any message about a pregnancy." "Interesting, because I came to the set 3 times. The third time, you were watching from the production trailer window while security escorted me off the premises." Olivia's voice remained measured, controlled. The memory surfaced like a body from murky water. Vanessa saying there was a disturbance at the gate, pulling him away from the window. "That woman is unhinged, Marcus. Let security handle it." "Vanessa," he whispered, "she intercepted you." "Does it matter now?" Olivia glanced toward Maya, happily accepting ice cream from Elena. "You made your choice 5 years ago. I've made mine every day since." Before he could respond, she walked away, rejoining her daughter with a warm smile that transformed her face. Marcus stood alone in the glittering crowd, a hollow sensation expanding in his chest. The festival's second half passed in a fog. When the credits rolled on Olivia's film, a haunting story of rebirth after betrayal, the standing ovation lasted 7 minutes. Marcus watched her take the stage with her team, Maya beaming proudly from her seat. Later, at his hotel bar, Marcus drained his 3rd scotch while Diane scrolled through her tablet. Eclipse Studios appeared seemingly out of nowhere 2 years ago, she read. Founded by screenwriter Olivia Chen, it's become known for championing female filmmakers and stories of resilience. Their current festival entry, Phosphorescence, marks their commercial breakthrough. "How did she do it?" Marcus muttered. "From nothing to—" He gestured vaguely. "From what I've gathered," Diane continued, "she had help from Eleanor Blackwood." "The Eleanor Blackwood?" Marcus straightened. The legendary producer had mentored some of the greatest directors before retiring a decade ago. She was notoriously selective about her projects and protégés. Apparently, they connected shortly after your divorce. Eleanor took her under her. A wing helped her establish the studio. Diane looked up from the tablet. "There's almost nothing about her personal life or Maya." Marcus slumped back. "I need to talk to her properly. About Maya." "Is that wise? The girl seems well adjusted. You bursting into their lives could disrupt that. She's my daughter. A daughter you didn't know existed until 4 hours ago," Diane pointed out bluntly. "Maybe consider what's best for her rather than what you want." Her words stung with truth. Marcus ordered another scotch, his mind drifting back to when everything had been golden. 7 years earlier, Marcus and Olivia had met at a screenwriting workshop in New York. He was teaching. She was the standout student whose script made him forget the time, reading until 3 a.m. because he couldn't put it down. Their creative connection had been immediate, their romantic one inevitable. They'd married within a year, a small ceremony in Central Park with just close friends. Their Brooklyn apartment became a creative hub, tiny but vibrant, walls covered with index cards, mapping out story structures, shelves overflowing with film books and scripts. Those early years had been magic. Olivia's screenplay for his second short film had won them recognition at smaller festivals. They'd worked side by side, her narratives elevating his visual instincts, his direction bringing her words to life. At night, they'd talked about their future, the films they'd make, the family they'd have eventually, once they were established. "We'll know when it's time," Olivia had said, curled against him one evening after they'd finished another draft. "When the story feels ready for a new character." He'd kissed her then, this brilliant woman who spoke in metaphors and saw the world through story. Our best collaboration, he'd promised. What had changed? When had ambition corroded love? The breakthrough had come suddenly, his fourth indie film catching the attention of major distributors. Suddenly, there were meetings with studio executives, talks of bigger budgets. When Vanessa Moore's agent had called, expressing her interest in his next project, Marcus had felt destiny finally acknowledging his talent. Vanessa had been intoxicating, Hollywood royalty bringing her star power to his vision. Her uncle, Richard Moore, headed Atlantic Studios. Her interest meant doors previously closed were suddenly opening. The filming of Midnight Tides had been his first major production, proper budget, recognized talent, industry attention. The pressure had been immense. Olivia's screenplay had undergone multiple rewrites to accommodate Vanessa's suggestions, each change moving further from their original vision. "It's just how the industry works," he told Olivia after another tense phone call. "We have to be flexible." Flexible doesn't mean unrecognizable, she'd argued. The story's losing its heart. But he'd been seduced by possibility, by Vanessa's whispered promises of what this could mean for his career. When she'd first kissed him during a late-night review of footage, he'd been startled but flattered. When it happened again, he'd convinced himself it was just part of the creative process, the intensity of filmmaking. By the third time, he was actively seeking moments alone with her. By the fourth, he was justifying his betrayal as necessary networking. Vanessa had made everything seem reasonable, the secret meetings, the lies to Olivia, the gradual distancing from the woman who'd been his creative cornerstone. "She's talented. For independent films," Vanessa had said dismissively, "but we're moving into a different league now. You need connections I can provide." The night Olivia discovered them had been catastrophic. Her face, first shocked, then devastated, still haunted him. Worse had been the coldness that followed, as though a switch had flipped inside him, making him capable of cruelty he hadn't known he possessed. "This isn't working anyway," he'd said, watching her pack a small bag through eyes blurred with scotch. "And rationalization. We want different things. You're content with small artistic projects. I want more." The divorce had been quick, clinical. Olivia had asked for almost nothing, just her personal belongings, her unproduced screenplays, and a clean break. He'd been relieved by her apparent surrender, too absorbed in his new life with Vanessa to question it, and then Midnight Tides had opened to mixed reviews. Critics praised the visuals, but found the story soulless and lacking authenticity, the very qualities Olivia's original screenplay had possessed. Vanessa's performance was called superficial. The film had underperformed financially. Within 3 months, Vanessa had moved on to another director with better connections. Richard Moore's promised 3-picture deal never materialized. Marcus found himself struggling to secure funding for his follow-up projects, his reputation tarnished by whispers of difficult on-set behavior and creative inflexibility. 5 years of diminishing returns had led to tonight. his modest comeback attempt at Cannes coinciding with Olivia's triumph, and the revelation of a daughter he never knew existed. In the hotel bar, Marcus set down his empty glass with sudden resolve. "I need to make this right," he told Diane. "Careful," she warned. "This isn't one of your films where the third act redemption comes easily. Real life is messier." "I know," Marcus replied, thinking of Maya's eyes, his eyes, looking at him with innocent curiosity. "But I have to try." The following morning, Marcus woke with a pounding headache and fragmented memories of the previous night. His phone showed 3 missed calls from his producer and a terse text from Diane. "Crisis meeting, 10 a.m., my room." He shuffled into the shower, the hot water doing little to wash away the revelation that had upended his world. A daughter. He had a daughter he'd never known about, and Olivia had built an entire life, an entire company without him. In Diane's suite, his producer Paolo and financier James were already seated, expressions grim. "The reviews are in," Diane said without preamble, sliding a tablet toward him. "Derivative, self-indulgent, a pale shadow of Reynolds' earlier promise. Atlantic Studios is reconsidering the distribution deal." Marcus barely registered the words. "I need to find Olivia. Did you hear me? The film is tanking." "I heard you." He pushed the tablet away. "But right now there's something more important." Paolo exchanged glances with James. "More important than your career going up in flames?" "My daughter," Marcus said. The words felt strange on his tongue. "I have a daughter I never knew about. I saw her last night with Olivia." Silence descended on the room. Then James spoke, his voice soft with disbelief. "The Eclipse Studios founder, that's your ex-wife?" "Yes. And apparently she was pregnant when we divorced." "This complicates things," Paolo muttered. "Complicates," Diane looked thoughtful, "or presents an opportunity." Marcus stared at her. "What are you suggesting?" "A reconciliation narrative. Director reunites with ex-wife and discovers child. The press would eat it up. Could generate enough buzz to salvage the distribution deal." "Absolutely not," Marcus snapped, surprising himself with his vehemence. "I'm not using Maya as a publicity stunt." "Maya? You already know her name?" Paolo raised an eyebrow. "I met her briefly last night." Marcus stood abruptly. "I need to go. I need to talk to Olivia properly." "Marcus, think about this," Diane cautioned. "Approaching her now, during her moment of triumph, could backfire spectacularly. The industry already views you as difficult. If this turns messy, I don't care about the industry right now." The realization struck him with startling clarity. "I care about making this right." He left them staring after him, bewildered by this unfamiliar version of Marcus Reynolds, the man who had always prioritized his career above all else. Finding Olivia proved challenging. Her film success had made her the festival's unexpected darling, her schedule packed with interviews and meetings. After several failed attempts to reach her through official channels, Marcus remembered Elena, the woman who had taken Maya. For ice cream, a quick search revealed Elena Vasquez, Eclipse Studios' head of production. Her social media showed recent photos at a Cannes cafe, popular with industry insiders. The cafe was crowded when Marcus arrived, but he spotted Elena immediately at a corner table, typing on her laptop. He approached hesitantly. "Excuse me, Elena. I'm Marcus Reynolds. We sort of met last night." She looked up, her expression cooling instantly. "I know who you are. I'm trying to reach Olivia for a proper conversation." "I'm not her secretary," Elena replied, returning to her laptop. "Please." The desperation in his voice must have registered, because she paused. "It's about Maya." Elena studied him, her gaze unflinching. 5 years. Not a call, not a text, not even a birthday card. Now suddenly you're interested in being a father? "I didn't know." Convenient excuse. "It's the truth. I never received any message about Olivia's pregnancy." Elena's fingers drummed on the table. Even if that's true, which is a big if, what do you want now? To disrupt their lives? Maya is happy. Olivia has built something remarkable from the ashes you left her in. Marcus swallowed hard. I just want to talk. No demands, no disruptions, just understanding. After a long moment, Eleanor sighed. They're at the Lumiere Garden reception. At 3 p.m., that's all I'm telling you. Thank you. As he turned to leave, Elena called after him. Reynolds. He looked back. She survived you once. Don't make her do it again. The warning followed him as he walked along the Croisette, the Mediterranean. Glittering beside him, in the harsh light of day, the magnitude of what he'd lost, what he'd thrown away, crashed over him like a wave. Not just Olivia, but 5 years of his daughter's life. First steps, first words, first everything. All sacrificed for what? A career that had fizzled after promising so much. A relationship with Vanessa that had lasted barely 3 months post-divorce. He'd traded gold for glitter, and now he had to face the consequences. The Lumiere Garden reception buzzed with industry elites celebrating the festival's standout films. Through the crowd, Marcus spotted Olivia in an elegant cream suit. Maya, beside her in a matching dress. The girl was showing something on a tablet to an elderly woman beside them, someone Marcus recognized with a jolt as Eleanor Blackwood, the legendary producer. He approached cautiously, aware of curious glances from those who recognized him. When Olivia saw him coming, she whispered something to Eleanor, who nodded and guided Maya toward the dessert table. I wasn't expecting to see you here, Olivia said, her tone neutral. Elena may have mentioned you'd be attending. Of course she did. Olivia sighed. What do you want, Marcus? Just to talk, properly. He gestured toward a quieter corner of the garden. After a moment's hesitation, she followed. Maya is beautiful, he began awkwardly. She seems happy. She is. Very. How did you do it? Raise her while building a studio? Something softened slightly in Olivia's expression. One day at a time, with help. From Eleanor Blackwood, among others. She glanced toward the legendary producer, now helping Maya select a pastry. Eleanor found me at my lowest point. I was sleeping in my car, 3 months pregnant, blacklisted from every production company in New York. The words hit Marcus like physical blows. Blacklisted? How? Rumors spread that I was unstable, difficult to work with. Suddenly, no one would return my calls. Her eyes met his directly. Vanessa has powerful friends. The calculated cruelty of it made him nauseous. Olivia, I swear I didn't know. Save it. She raised a hand. Ancient history now. Please, he pressed. I need to understand what happened when you tried to tell me about the pregnancy. Olivia studied him for a long moment, as though weighing whether the truth still mattered after. So much time. 3 weeks after you threw me out, I discovered I was pregnant. I called, I texted, nothing. So I went to the set. Her voice remained steady, but her fingers tightened around her water glass. Security stopped me. I begged them to give you a message. They went inside. When they returned, they said you'd received the message, but didn't believe the child was yours due to my infidelity. My God. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. There was no infidelity. I know that, but you were convinced otherwise. She shrugged, the gesture at odds with the weight of her words. The security guard seemed uncomfortable delivering the message. Now I understand why. Vanessa intercepted everything, Marcus realized aloud. She must have told them to say I rejected the message. It doesn't matter now. I left New York that night, drove until my car broke down in Connecticut. That's where Eleanor found me, violently ill with morning sickness in a gas station bathroom. A faint smile crossed her face. She said I looked dreadful but interesting. Marcus tried to imagine Olivia, brilliant, proud Olivia, reduced to homelessness, pregnancy sickness, and the charity of strangers. The image was unbearable. What happened then? Eleanor has a country estate in Connecticut. She offered me her guest house until I could sort myself out. I expected to stay a few days. I ended up staying 2 years. Olivia looked across at Maya, now chatting animatedly with a festival organizer. She was born there. Eleanor delivered her herself when a snowstorm prevented us from reaching the hospital. The revelation of this shared history between his daughter and a woman he didn't know sent a fresh wave of loss through Marcus. After Maya was born, Olivia continued, I started writing again. Eleanor read my scripts and made one phone call. That led to a small production deal, which led to another. When Maya was 3, we founded Eclipse Studios. With Eleanor's backing, with Eleanor's guidance, the money was mine. Her chin lifted slightly. My scripts earned it. Before Marcus could respond, Maya bounded over, her face brightening at the sight of her mother. Mom, Miss Blackwood says I can help present the award tomorrow if it's okay with you. Olivia smiled, instantly transforming from the reserved woman of moments before to a warm, attentive mother. That sounds wonderful, sweetheart, but it's a very big responsibility. I can do it. I practiced with Miss Blackwood. Maya noticed Marcus and tilted her head curiously. Hello again? Hello, Maya. His voice nearly broke, saying her name. You look sad, she observed with a child's directness. Are you sad? Maya, Olivia began, but Marcus shook his head. It's okay. He knelt to Maya's level. I am a little sad. Sometimes adults feel sad about things that happened a long time ago. Like when you lose something important? Marcus looked up at Olivia, then back to Maya. Exactly like that. The conversation with Maya ended abruptly when Eleanor Blackwood approached, her elegant figure commanding attention despite her advanced years. Maya, darling, they've brought those chocolate strawberries you like. She glanced meaningfully at Olivia. Perhaps you'd like some before they disappear. Yes, Maya exclaimed, then remembered her manners. It was nice talking to you, Mr. Reynolds. As Maya skipped away, Eleanor's keen eyes assessed Marcus. So you're the ex-husband. Ms. Blackwood, Marcus acknowledged, extending his hand. It's an honor to meet you. She ignored his outstretched hand. Save the platitudes. I've spent 5 years helping clean up the mess you made. Eleanor, Olivia interjected softly. No, he should hear this. Eleanor's voice remained perfectly modulated, betraying no emotion beyond mild disappointment. Do you know what I found that night at the Sunoco station in Westport? A brilliant young woman, 7 months pregnant, sleeping in a car with no money, no prospects, and a fever of 102. She'd been vomiting for hours, too proud to ask for help. Marcus felt physically ill. I didn't know. Of course you didn't. Eleanor waved dismissively. You were too busy chasing false promises with that Moore girl. A waiter passed with champagne. Eleanor deftly snagged a glass while declining one. For Olivia, with a practiced gesture that spoke of long familiarity. I've been in this industry 70 years, Mr. Reynolds. I've seen countless talented women discarded when they became inconvenient. But Olivia... She glanced fondly at her protégé. She had something rare, not just talent but resilience. I'm discovering that, Marcus replied quietly. Eleanor took me in when I had nothing, Olivia explained, gave me a place to stay, prenatal care, and eventually a chance to rebuild. The guest house needed occupying, Eleanor said matter-of-factly, and I needed someone to argue about Kurosawa with. The genuine affection between them was palpable, forged through shared hardship and mutual respect. Marcus felt like an intruder witnessing it. Those first months were... Olivia hesitated. Hellish, Eleanor supplied. Hyperemesis gravidarum. Throughout the pregnancy, bed rest for the final trimester, 36 hours of labor in a blizzard, with only myself and my housekeeper Rosa playing midwife. Each detail landed like an accusation. Marcus had been pursuing fame while Olivia fought through a difficult pregnancy alone. When Maya was 3 months old, Eleanor continued, Olivia started writing again. I found her at my kitchen table at 4 a.m. typing one-handed while nursing the baby. She smiled at the memory. I knew then she would be extraordinary. The screenplay for Midnight Whispers, Olivia explained. Eleanor showed it to Jacques Laurent. The Jacques Laurent? Marcus couldn't hide his surprise. The reclusive French producer rarely took on new projects. He loved it, Eleanor said simply, offered a modest budget. Olivia insisted on creative control. The rest, as they say, is at the Cannes Film Festival, Olivia finished with a small smile. The three fell silent, watching Maya charm festival attendees across the garden. The little girl moved with confidence among cinema's elite, clearly accustomed to such environments. Another thing Marcus had missed, her social development, her comfort in these artistic circles. What do you want from them, Mr. Reynolds? Eleanor finally asked, her directness cutting through his thoughts. I don't know, he admitted. Yesterday I didn't know Maya existed. Now you want to play daddy? Eleanor's eyebrow arched. After she's perfectly happy and established? Eleanor, Olivia cautioned, that's not helpful. No. I remember holding you through nights of tears. I remember Maya asking why she didn't have a father like her preschool friends. I remember— That's enough, Olivia said firmly. Eleanor huffed but fell silent, her protective instinct evident. I understand your caution, Marcus said to both women. I haven't earned any right to Maya's life, but— He struggled to articulate the overwhelming need he felt. She's my daughter. I missed 5 years I can never get back. I don't want to miss more. And your career? Olivia asked quietly. From what I've heard, your current film needs distribution. How convenient that you've discovered fatherhood just as your professional options are dwindling. The accusations stung, more so because earlier that morning his own team had suggested exploiting the connection. That's not why I'm here, he insisted. Then, why now? Eleanor demanded. Why not 6 months from now, when the festival spotlight has faded? Why not pursue this privately? Before Marcus could answer, they were interrupted by a festival coordinator requesting Olivia for a photo opportunity. With a glance at Eleanor that clearly communicated, "Watch him," Olivia departed. Left alone with the formidable producer, Marcus felt suddenly vulnerable. You broke her heart, Eleanor stated plainly. Not just romantically. You made her doubt her talent, her worth. I was a fool. Yes. Eleanor sipped her champagne. Fortunately for Maya, Olivia is extraordinary. And fortunately for you, she has more compassion than most. She cried for you, you know, Eleanor said, leading Marcus to a secluded corner of the garden. Not just after you left her. During labor, she called for you when the pain was unbearable. Marcus closed his eyes, the image too painful to contemplate. Why are you telling me this? Because you should know what you missed, what she endured. Eleanor settled onto a stone bench, patting the space beside her with surprising gentleness. Sit. My old legs can't stand through this conversation. Marcus obeyed, feeling strangely like a chastened schoolboy. The night I found Olivia, Eleanor continued, was the night I lost my grandson to an overdose. I'd gone for a drive, unable to sleep. Divine timing, perhaps. I'm sorry for your loss. As am I for yours, she replied unexpectedly. You lost years with an exceptional child, and a chance to see what Olivia has become. From this vantage point, they could see Olivia speaking with journalists, poised and professional. Maya had rejoined her, standing politely at her mother's side. When did you know, Marcus asked, that she would succeed? When she refused my money. Eleanor smiled at his surprise. Oh, I offered, repeatedly. She would accept shelter, mentorship, connections, but insisted on earning her own way. She wrote scripts at night while working reception at my doctor's office during the day. With a newborn. That sounds like Olivia. The screenplay that caught Jacques' attention, Eleanor continued. She wrote it during Maya's naps. 3 months later, she had her first producer credit. A year after that, she founded Eclipse with the profits. I've underestimated her my entire life, Marcus admitted, even when we were together. Most men do, Eleanor said matter-of-factly. It's a common ailment. They watched as Maya whispered, something to Olivia, who bent to listen with undivided attention despite the cameras and industry leaders surrounding them. She's a remarkable mother, Eleanor observed. Never misses a school event, despite running a studio. Maya's homework takes priority over million-dollar deals. I can't imagine Vanessa doing that, Marcus said before he could stop himself. No, Eleanor agreed dryly. That one was never meant for motherhood, though she was quite effective at destroying your career. What do you mean? You don't know? Eleanor seemed genuinely surprised. After you and she ended things, she did quite the whisper campaign. Told everyone you were controlling on set, took credit for others' ideas, couldn't handle criticism. Richard Moore made sure those whispers reached the right ears. The revelation explained so much. The suddenly cancelled meetings, the financing that fell through, the cold shoulders at industry events. I thought it was just the film underperforming, Marcus said hollowly. That didn't help, but no, my dear, you were systematically blackballed. Eleanor patted his hand with unexpected sympathy. The Moore family protects their own. You were collateral damage. Marcus absorbed this, connecting dots that had eluded him for years. And you? Did you blackball me too? I had no need, Eleanor replied. You did that yourself by discarding the one person who elevated your work beyond mediocrity. The brutal honesty stung precisely because it was true. His best work had always been with Olivia, her writing providing the soul his visual style needed. Why are you telling me all this now? Eleanor studied him with piercing clarity. Because despite everything, that little girl deserves to know her father, and because Olivia, against all odds, hasn't become bitter. A lesser woman would have poisoned Maya against you years ago. She hasn't? No. She keeps a box of memories. Photos from your early days, reviews of your films together. Maya knows you exist, knows you're her biological father. Olivia simply says you couldn't be part of their lives. This revelation, that Olivia had preserved his memory rather than destroying it, moved Marcus deeply. I don't deserve her consideration. No, you don't, Eleanor agreed bluntly, but Maya deserves a chance to know you if you're worthy of knowing her. How do I prove that? That's the question, isn't it? Eleanor rose slowly, her age showing in the careful movement. Olivia and Maya return to Paris tomorrow. Eclipse has offices there. I'll follow them, Marcus decided instantly. Cancel my meetings here. Impulsive, Eleanor noted, but perhaps appropriate given the circumstances. As she prepared to rejoin the others, Marcus asked, Why help me at all? You've spent years protecting them from me. Eleanor's smile held decades of hard-earned wisdom. Because forgiveness, when earned, heals more than resentment ever could. And because Maya asked about you last Christmas, she's becoming curious. What did Olivia tell her? That you were a talented filmmaker who wasn't ready to be a father. Eleanor's gaze sharpened. Are you ready now, Mr. Reynolds? Because I warn you, if you disrupt their lives only to disappear again, I will personally ensure you never work in this industry again. The threat, delivered with elegant calm, carried absolute conviction. I understand. Good. She nodded, once decisively. Then perhaps there's hope for you yet. As Eleanor walked away, Marcus remained on the bench, watching Olivia and Maya from a distance. A family that had formed and flourished without him. The gulf between them seemed both unbridgeable and essential to cross. He pulled out his phone and texted Diane, Cancel everything. I'm going to Paris tomorrow. Paris in late spring embodied everything Marcus had once loved about filmmaking. Light that transformed ordinary scenes into art, history breathing through modern moments, beauty in unexpected corners. From his hotel window near the Champs-Élysées, the city stretched before him, indifferent to his personal drama. 3 days had passed since his arrival. 3 days of unanswered messages to Olivia. 3 days of quietly losing his mind. His phone rang. Diane, calling for the 5th time that day. "Atlantic Studios is pulling out," she said without preamble when he answered. "They've seen the festival reviews. They're walking away." "Let them," Marcus replied, surprising himself with how little he cared. "Let them," Diane's voice rose. "This is your comeback film, without distribution. I'll worry about that later. Who are you and what have you done with Marcus Reynolds?" Diane demanded. "The man I've worked with for 4 years would be having a meltdown right now." "That man," Marcus said quietly, "just discovered he has a 5-year-old daughter." Silence stretched between them before Diane sighed. "Have you reached her, Olivia?" "Not yet, but I found Eclipses' Paris office. I'm going there today." "Marcus," Diane hesitated. "Are you sure this isn't about the film, about salvaging your career through some public reconciliation?" The question should have offended him. Instead, it made him examine his motives with brutal honesty. "A week ago, maybe," he admitted. "Now, I just want a chance to know my daughter, even if it means walking away from filmmaking entirely." After ending the call, Marcus dressed carefully, not in his usual director's uniform of fashionable black, but in simple jeans and a blue button-down that Olivia had once said matched his eyes. The memory surfaced unexpectedly, like many had these past days, fragments of a relationship he'd undervalued. Eclipse Studios occupied the top floor of a renovated building in the 11th arrondissement. The reception area hummed with purpose, sleek but unpretentious. Walls showcasing posters of their films, most featuring female directors and writers. "I'm here to see Olivia Chen," he told the receptionist. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but—" "Ms. Chen is fully booked today. Perhaps you could leave your name and contact information. Tell her it's Marcus Reynolds. It's about Maya." The receptionist's eyes widened slightly in recognition before her professional mask returned. "One moment, please." While waiting, Marcus studied the Eclipse logo on the wall, a partial eclipse revealing brilliant light, the tagline below reading, "Illuminating New Perspectives." It captured Olivia's vision perfectly. Mr. Reynolds. He turned to find Elena Vasquez regarding him with undisguised suspicion. "Ms. Vasquez, is Olivia available?" "She's in a meeting. I told her you were here." Elena crossed her arms. "She said to give you this." She handed him a sealed envelope. Inside was a note in Olivia's distinctive handwriting. "Marcus, I need time to consider what's best for Maya. Meet me tomorrow 2 p.m. at Jardin du Luxembourg by the fountain." "Come alone." "Oh, she's not avoiding you," Elena offered, surprising him with the small kindness. "She's protecting Maya while figuring this out." "I understand." He tucked the note away carefully. "Thank you for delivering it." "I didn't do it for you." Elena's directness was refreshing after years of Hollywood artifice. "I did it for Maya, who deserves to know where she comes from, and for Olivia, who's spent too long carrying this alone. You care about them both, their family." The simple declaration held volumes of shared history. "Was it very bad for her after we divorced?" Elena studied him, weighing honesty against loyalty. "Worse than you can imagine. The pregnancy was difficult. The birth nearly killed her. Then raising a newborn alone, trying to rebuild her career." She shook her head. "Eleanor saved her life, literally and figuratively. And Maya is a miracle." Elena's expression softened. Brilliant, compassionate, stubborn, just like her mother. Does she ever ask about me? Recently, yes. She's at an age where differences matter. Her friends have fathers. She doesn't. She started asking questions Olivia always dreaded. The knowledge that his daughter wondered about him, that she felt his absence, created an ache unlike anything Marcus had experienced. I won't hurt them, he promised, though he had no right to make such declarations after his past actions. Intentions are meaningless, Elena replied, echoing Eleanor's pragmatism. Actions matter. Maya's happiness matters. Remember that tomorrow. As Marcus left the building, his phone buzzed with a message from his agent. Atlantic walking away. No other takers. Film officially shelved. Call me ASAP. 6 days ago, this news would have devastated him. Now, it barely registered. His priorities had undergone a seismic shift, rendering his cinematic ambitions secondary to something he hadn't even known existed a week ago. His daughter, the chance to know her, the possibility of building something honest from the ruins of what he'd destroyed. The Jardin du Luxembourg embraced spring with unashamed glory. Chess players hunched over boards, children sailing miniature, boats across the pond, tourists and locals alike basking in perfect weather. Marcus arrived 30 minutes early, settling on a bench facing the fountain. He'd barely slept. The prospect of this conversation, whatever Olivia had decided, had kept him staring at his hotel ceiling until dawn. His career was imploding. The film he'd spent 2 years creating had no distribution. Yet somehow, none of that mattered anymore. At precisely 2 p.m, Olivia appeared, navigating through lounging students and picnicking families. She wore simple linen pants and a white blouse, her hair loose around her shoulders, so different from her Cannes elegance, yet achingly familiar. This was the Olivia he remembered from their early days, before fame and betrayal complicated everything. You came, she said, taking the seat beside him. Did you doubt I would? Honestly, yes. She gazed at the fountain, gathering her thoughts. You weren't exactly reliable toward the end. The blunt assessment stung with its accuracy. I deserved that. This isn't about punishing you, Marcus. She turned to face him directly. It's about protecting Maya from further disappointment. I understand. Do you? Her eyes searched his, because once she knows who you are, truly knows, there's no going back. She's not a prop in your redemption story or a publicity opportunity for your next film. My film is dead, Marcus said quietly. Atlantic pulled distribution yesterday. My agent isn't returning calls. My career is essentially over. Surprise flashed across Olivia's face. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's karma. Finally catching up. He attempted a smile. Turns out Vanessa did more damage than just stealing you and Maya from my life. What do you mean? Marcus explained what Eleanor had told him about the Whisper campaign, the systematic blackballing orchestrated by the Moore family. That's... Olivia shook her head. I had no idea. I was dealing with my own career extinction at the time. Eleanor mentioned that. Said you couldn't get work after we split. Not just couldn't get work, couldn't get into a room. Olivia's voice remained steady, but her fingers twisted the strap of her purse. Every contact suddenly stopped responding. My agent dropped me. Our so-called friends disappeared. It was as if I'd become radioactive overnight. While I did nothing to stop it, Marcus acknowledged, the shame of his indifference weighing heavily. I was 7 months pregnant, sleeping in my car at highway rest stops when Eleanor found me. Olivia's matter-of-fact tone somehow made the image more devastating. I'd been vomiting for days, hyperemesis, couldn't keep even water down. The doctor later said I was severely dehydrated, at risk for preterm labor. Marcus closed his eyes, unable to bear the picture her words painted. Eleanor didn't just save Maya, Olivia continued. She saved me, physically, then professionally. She was more parent to me than my own ever were. She clearly loves you both, Marcus said. I could see it at Cannes. She's Maya's only grandmother figure. My parents disowned me when I chose film school over law school. Yours died before we met, Marcus finished. Maya has no grandparents except Eleanor. They sat in silence, watching children play by the fountain, their laughter carrying across the garden. What happened after Maya was born? Marcus finally asked. How did you start over? Olivia's expression softened at the memory. She was born during a blizzard. No way to reach the hospital. Eleanor and her housekeeper delivered her in the guest house. 8 pounds, 3 ounces of perfect screaming defiance. A smile tugged at her lips. I named her Maya because it means illusion in Sanskrit. A reminder that what appears real, like your love, like our future, can be an illusion, but also that life creates magic from nothing. The poetry of the choice, simultaneously bitter and hopeful, was quintessentially Olivia. When she was 3 months old, I started writing again. At night, while she slept, during feedings, whenever I could. Olivia tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Eleanor showed my screenplay to Jacques Laurent. He took a chance on me. That film opened doors. One project led to another. Then Eclipse happened. You built an empire from nothing, Marcus said with genuine admiration. Not nothing, Olivia corrected. From Maya. From the absolute certainty that I had to create a world where she would thrive, with or without a father. Maya asked about you for the first time when she was 3, Olivia said, shifting on the bench to face Marcus more directly. We were watching an old film, one you'd always admired. She pointed to the director's name in the credits and asked if all daddies made movies. Marcus's breath caught. What did you tell her? The truth simplified for a 3-year-old, that her daddy did make movies, but he couldn't be with us. Olivia's gaze drifted to a father pushing his daughter on a nearby swing. As she got older, the questions became more complex. By 5, she wanted to know why you never visited, never called. And I refused to make you a villain in her story. Olivia's voice held no self-congratulation, just quiet certainty. I said you weren't ready to be a father when she was born, that it wasn't her fault, and that someday she might meet you if circumstances allowed. The grace of this approach, protecting Maya while preserving the possibility of their relationship, humbled Marcus completely. Thank you, he whispered. You had every right to poison her against me. That would have poisoned her too. Olivia's wisdom, hard-earned through suffering he'd caused, shamed him further. Children internalize how we speak about their other parent. I didn't want her carrying that burden. They sat in silence, watching the play of light on water from the fountain. Finally, Marcus asked the question that had haunted him since Cannes. What happens now with Maya? Olivia considered carefully before answering. I've decided to tell her who you are, that her father wants to meet her properly. Relief flooded through him. When? Tonight, if you're certain this is what you want. It is. No hesitation, no doubt. Then you should know what you're walking into. Olivia's tone turned practical. Maya is extraordinary, but she's still 5. She's sensitive, perceptive, sometimes painfully so. She notices everything. Tone shifts, unspoken tensions. Like you, Marcus observed. Like both of us, Olivia corrected. She has your visual instincts, your ability to frame a scene. But she needs consistency, Marcus. If you enter her life, you can't disappear when it becomes inconvenient. I won't, he promised. Whatever it takes, however much time she needs. What? About your career. If someone offered to resurrect your film tomorrow, would you fly back to LA? The question wasn't accusatory, just pragmatic. Olivia had built her life around practicalities while he had chased illusions. No, Marcus said with unexpected clarity. Even if my career weren't imploding, Maya comes first now. Olivia studied him, searching for deception. Finding none, she nodded slightly. We live in the 7th arrondissement. 42, Rue de Grenelle, 3rd floor. Come at 7. I'll have spoken to her by then. Thank you, Marcus said, the words grossly inadequate for the gift she was offering. Don't thank me yet, Olivia cautioned, rising from the bench. She may not want this. If she doesn't, I won't force it, I understand. As she turned to leave, Marcus called after her. Olivia, what made you decide to allow this, after everything? She paused, considering the question. 2 things. First, seeing you in Cannes, the shock in your eyes when you saw Maya. It was genuine. You truly didn't know. And second, Maya's happiness is my priority. She's reaching an age where she needs to understand her origins, even the complicated parts. Olivia's expression softened. And perhaps I've finally healed enough to believe people can change. After she departed, Marcus remained on the bench, absorbing what had just transpired. For the first time since seeing Olivia on the red carpet, he allowed himself to feel something beyond guilt and regret. A fragile, tentative hope. His phone vibrated. A message from his agent. Pacific Studios interested. Wants to meet tomorrow. Can you fly back tonight? 6 days ago, this message would have sent him racing to the airport. Now he typed a response without hesitation. Not available. In Paris. Indefinitely for family matters. Family matters. The phrase felt foreign, yet profoundly right. At 6:58 that evening, Marcus stood outside an elegant Haussmann building on Rue de Grenelle, heart pounding as if he were a teenager on a first date. Rather than a grown man meeting his daughter, he carried a small gift, not the extravagant offerings he'd initially considered, but something Eleanor had suggested during a surprisingly helpful phone conversation that afternoon. Children value presents over presents, she'd advised. Bring something meaningful, not expensive. The door opened before he could knock. Olivia stood there, expression guarded yet not unwelcoming. She knows, she said quietly. She wants to meet you. The following weeks established a rhythm none of them could have predicted. Marcus rented an apartment near Olivia's, a small but comfortable space with a spare bedroom that gradually accumulated Maya's drawings, books and toys. He appeared faithfully each morning to walk Maya to school, learned her routine, her favorites, her fears. Eclipse Studios offered him a temporary consulting position, Olivia's idea, surprising them both. You need income, she'd explained, pragmatically. And your visual expertise is valuable, despite everything else. His first day in their offices, he'd felt like an interloper, acutely aware of curious glances and whispered speculation. Elena had greeted him with characteristic directness. Hurt them again, and I'll personally ensure you're blacklisted on 2 continents instead of 1, she'd promised, before showing him to a modest office down the hall from Olivia's. At first, his role was limited, reviewing cinematography choices, offering technical suggestions. But as his presence became less remarkable, his contributions expanded. He discovered Eclipse's production model was innovative, efficient, creative, and fundamentally different from Hollywood's bloated approach. This is how filmmaking should work, he told Olivia one evening as they debriefed after Maya's bedtime. Less waste, more collaboration, actual respect for the creative process. That was the point, she replied, to build what we always talked about before I ruined everything, Marcus supplied. Before priorities shifted, Olivia amended diplomatically. Their relationship evolved cautiously from awkward coexistence to functional co-parenting to something approaching friendship. The wounds remained, but scabbed over, less raw with each passing day. Maya blossomed under their shared attention. Initially shy with Marcus, she gradually tested him, watching for consistency, for genuine interest, for honesty. He met each test with patience, never pushing, always present. One rainy Saturday afternoon, they sat together in his apartment, filling pages in the journal he'd given her with a story about a girl who could speak to stars. "Did you love my mum?" Maya asked suddenly, the question catching him entirely off guard. "Yes," he answered without hesitation. "Very much." "Then why did you leave?" Marcus set down his pencil, giving the question the consideration it deserved. "Because I made terrible mistakes. I thought other things were more important. Fame, success. I was wrong." Maya nodded, absorbing this. "Mom says everybody makes mistakes, but not everybody learns from them." "Your mom is very wise." "Are you still learning?" "Every day," Marcus assured her, marveling at her perceptiveness. 3 months after Cannes, Olivia received an invitation to the Venice Film Festival, where Phosphorescence had been nominated for the Golden Lion. The invitation specifically included Marcus, acknowledging his contributions to Eclipses' recent projects. "We should discuss this," Olivia said, showing him the invitation at their weekly scheduling meeting. Maya would love Venice, but appearing together publicly changes things, Marcus finished. "Exactly. People will speculate, assume we've reconciled romantically." Would that be so terrible? The question escaped before he could reconsider it. Olivia's expression softened, but remained resolute. "Marcus, we're finally in a good place. With Maya, let's not complicate that." He nodded, accepting the boundary. "Of course, I apologize." "Don't apologize for honesty," she replied. "It's refreshing after our history." They decided to attend separately, Olivia and Maya first, Marcus following 2 days later for the ceremony itself. The arrangement preserved their careful balance. While acknowledging his growing role in Eclipses' success, Venice welcomed them with golden September light. Maya delighted in gondola rides and gelato adventures, while Olivia handled press obligations. When Marcus arrived, they maintained professional distance in public while sharing private family moments away from cameras. The night of the ceremony, Olivia stunned in emerald silk, Maya proud beside her in a matching dress. Marcus, walking the red carpet separately, watched them from a distance, struck by the journey that had brought them here, Olivia triumphant, Maya flourishing, himself humbled and transformed. Phosphorescence won its category. Olivia's acceptance speech acknowledged her team, her supporters, and finally, surprisingly, Marcus. And to Marcus Reynolds, who reminded us that second chances, when earned through consistent effort rather than empty promises, can transform stories we thought were finished into new beginnings. The acknowledgement, public, generous, measured, moved him deeply. At the after-party, they navigated separate orbits until Maya, tired but determined, pulled them together for a photo. "My family should be in one picture," she insisted, with the authority only a 5-year-old could muster. As they posed, not touching but connected through Maya between them, a photographer called, "Beautiful family, are you back together?" Then, before either could respond, Maya answered with perfect clarity, "They're not married anymore, but they're both my parents. It's complicated, but okay." Her simple wisdom silenced them both. Later, after Maya had fallen asleep in Olivia's suite, Marcus lingered at the door. "She called us a family," he said quietly. "We are," Olivia acknowledged, "just not the conventional kind." "Thank you," Marcus said, the words encompassing everything. For the second chance, for Maya, for the grace she'd shown when he deserved none. Olivia smiled, genuine warmth reaching her eyes, for perhaps the first time since Cannes. Maya was right, it's complicated but okay. As Marcus walked back to his hotel through Venice's ancient streets, his phone buzzed with a message from his former agent. "Pacific reviving your shelved film. New distribution deal. Need you back in LA ASAP." 6 months ago, this message would have sent him racing to the airport. Now, he typed a response that felt like the final step in his transformation. Appreciate the offer, but my priority is here with my daughter. If they want me, they'll need to accommodate that reality. Family first, everything else secondary. The lesson had come late, but it had come. 1 year after the Cannes revelation, Marcus stood on the balcony of his Paris apartment, watching spring transform the city once again. Maya's 6th birthday celebration had concluded hours earlier, a joyful gathering that would have seemed impossible 12 months before. His phone chimed with a message from Olivia. Maya asleep. Left her sweater at your place. Thanks for today. Such simple words, yet they represented a journey of immeasurable complexity. The past year had reshaped everything. His shelved film had eventually been released with Pacific's distribution, gaining modest critical praise but minimal commercial success. The Marcus of old would have been devastated. The Marcus of now recognized it as the closing of one chapter so another could begin. His consulting role at Eclipse had evolved into a permanent position as visual director, working primarily from Paris with occasional trips to their expanding London office. The studio's success continued to grow, with 3 major festival wins and a distribution deal that positioned them as Europe's premier independent film company. But the real transformation existed in the relationship that had formed between father and daughter, a bond built carefully through school projects, weekend adventures, and nightly story sessions. Maya now spent 3 nights each week at his apartment, the spare room fully transformed into her space, walls covered with her expanding artistic experiments. His relationship with Olivia had settled into something neither of them could have predicted, not the rekindled romance Hollywood might have scripted, but a partnership built on mutual respect, shared purpose, and the profound love they both felt for their daughter. A knock at his door interrupted his reflection. Opening it revealed Olivia, casual in jeans and a sweater. "Sorry to disturb you," she said. Maya woke up insisting she needed Mr. Whiskers for school tomorrow. Mr. Whiskers, the stuffed cat they'd given Maya for her birthday, had apparently been left behind as well. "Come in," Marcus invited, retrieving the toy from the sofa. "How is she after all the excitement?" "Exhausted but happy." Olivia accepted the cat with a smile. She said it was her best birthday ever because everyone she loves was there together. The simple statement encapsulated their journey, from brokenness to something whole, if unconventional. "I have something for you," Marcus said, retrieving an envelope from his desk. "It came today." Olivia opened it, finding the official distribution numbers for Phosphorescence, Eclipse's biggest success to date, now projected to turn a profit that would fund their next 3 projects. "This is incredible," she breathed. "Maya's college fund just doubled." "You did it, Olivia." His pride in her accomplishment was genuine, untainted by envy. "Everything you dreamed about during those early days in Brooklyn." "We did it," she corrected, including him in Eclipse's success with unexpected generosity. "Your contributions this past year were significant." They settled on the balcony with glasses of wine, the comfortable silence of old friends replacing the awkwardness that had defined their early reunification. "Do you ever think about how strange this all is?" Olivia asked finally. "If you hadn't seen us on that red carpet." "I try not to," Marcus admitted. "The thought of never knowing Maya is unbearable now. Yet we survived 6 years exactly that way." "You survived," he corrected. "You thrived. I just existed, chasing hollow success." Olivia studied him thoughtfully. "You've changed." "I had no choice. Meeting Maya, seeing what you built without me, it forced me to confront who I'd become." The moon rose over Paris, silvering the rooftops around them. In the distance, the Eiffel Tower sparkled, its hourly light show a constellation against the night sky. "Eleanor called yesterday," Olivia said, changing subjects. "She's coming to Paris next month. Said she wants to see her honorary granddaughter." Before summer, and to check that I'm still behaving myself, Marcus added with a self-deprecating smile. That too, Olivia laughed softly. As the night deepened around them, Marcus found himself marveling at the journey that had brought them here, from betrayal to co-parenting, from strangers to something like family. I don't deserve this second chance, he said quietly. Any of it. Perhaps not, Olivia agreed, her honesty unchanged by time. But Maya deserves a father who loves her, who shows up consistently, who puts her needs first. You've become that man. The acknowledgement, hard-earned through months of proving himself, meant more than any professional accolade ever had. Should go, Olivia said, finishing her wine. Early start tomorrow. At the door she paused, studying him with an expression he couldn't quite decipher. You know, she said finally, the most powerful revenge isn't destruction, it's creation. Building something so beautiful from what was broken that it transforms everyone it touches. The echo of his own thoughts from earlier caught him by surprise. Is that what we've done? He asked. Created something beautiful from our mistakes? Maya, Olivia replied simply, eclipse, this unexpected family we've formed. Yes, I believe we have. As she left, Marcus returned to the balcony, considering how completely his priorities had shifted. The fame he'd once desperately chased seemed trivial compared to Maya's smile when he helped with her homework. The validation he'd sought from industry recognition paled against Olivia's hard-won trust. His phone chimed with a text from his agent. Another offer, another potential comeback project. It could wait until morning. Tonight was for reflection, for gratitude, that sometimes life's most devastating detours lead to destinations worth the journey. Sometimes, Marcus realized, the red carpet moment you've been chasing isn't the one where cameras flash as you arrive in glory, but the one where you see with sudden clarity everything you almost lost forever, and receive the undeserved gift of a second chance to make it right.